Far away in the dark reaches of space, on a planet called Zillaris, a great alien city stood tall. The city was home to the Zillari people, proud and strong. Their leader was the Queen, a wise and brave woman who had ruled for many years. She loved her people deeply, but her heart carried a heavy pain. Her daughter, the princess, had been taken away a long time ago. The enemy, a cruel group called the Drakari, had attacked Zillaris when the princess was just a child. In the chaos, they kidnapped her and disappeared into the stars. The queen had searched everywhere, but no one had seen her daughter since then. Many thought the princess was lost forever. But the queen never gave up hope. She believed her daughter was still alive somewhere in the vast galaxy. She kept her people strong and ready for war, hoping one day to bring her daughter back home. Every night, she stood on the highest tower of the palace, looking at the stars, praying for her child's safe return. The Zillari people admired their queen. She was not just a ruler but a symbol of courage. Her blue eyes shone with determination. Even though her heart ached, she never showed weakness. She trained her soldiers, planned her defenses, and inspired her people to be brave. One day, news came from the galaxy's far side. A group of human soldiers from Earth had formed an alliance with other planets to fight against the Drakari. Humans were known for their boldness and strength. The queen hoped that these humans could help her find her daughter. In a large meeting room inside the palace, the queen spoke to her trusted advisors. "The humans have arrived," she said. "They are our best chance to find the princess. We must work with them." Her advisors nodded. Some were worried. Humans were different from the Zillari. They looked different, acted differently, and spoke in strange ways. But the queen knew that courage and kindness crossed all boundaries. Far away, on a big spaceship, the humans prepared for their mission. Among them was a soldier named Jack. Jack was young but very skilled. He had faced many dangers before, but this mission was different. He was going to find a missing princess on a strange alien world. Jack listened carefully as his commanders explained the mission. "The princess was taken years ago by the Drakari," the commander said. "We do not know where she is now. Your job is to find her and bring her home safely." Jack felt a heavy weight in his chest. He did not know the princess, but he understood how important this mission was. He promised himself that he would not fail. Before the mission began, Jack watched a message from the Queen of Zillaris. Her voice was calm but strong. "To the humans who come to help us, know this. Our daughter is not just a child to us. She is hope for our future. Find her, and you will bring peace to many worlds." Jack nodded. He felt the Queen's hope and pain. He knew he was carrying more than just a mission, he was carrying a dream for a family and a people. The spaceship left the human base and flew through the stars. Jack looked out the window at the endless black space dotted with bright lights. Somewhere out there was the princess, lost but alive. As the ship moved closer to Zillaris, Jack felt a mix of excitement and fear. He did not know what he would find, but he was ready. He thought of the Queen waiting for her daughter, of a family torn apart by war. Jack was determined. He would find the princess. He would bring her back. Back on Zillaris, the Queen watched the sky. She felt a small flicker of hope. Maybe, just maybe, her daughter would come home soon. The stars seemed to shine brighter that night. Would you like me to continue with part 2 next? The spaceship carrying Jack and the human team moved closer to Zillaris. The planet was larger and more beautiful than Jack had imagined. It had blue-green oceans and wide forests. The cities were tall and shiny. But Jack knew the beauty of the planet hid a great sadness. When the ship landed near the capital city, Jack felt a strange mix of excitement and nervousness. He had never been so far from Earth before. Everything looked different: the sky, the buildings, even the people. The Zillari were tall and graceful, with shimmering skin that changed color like the ocean waves. A group of Zillari soldiers came to meet the humans. They bowed respectfully, but their eyes showed they were cautious. Jack stepped forward and introduced himself. "I am Jack," he said clearly. "I am here to help find your princess." The leader of the Zillari soldiers nodded. "Welcome, Jack. I am Commander Rylax. We have waited a long time for help." Jack felt the weight of those words. He could see the hope shining in Rylax's eyes. Jack knew this was more than a mission for the Zillari. It was a matter of heart and home. The Queen sent a message to meet with Jack and the other humans in the Great Palace. Jack was nervous but ready. He wanted to show the Zillari that humans were strong and kind. The palace was grand and filled with light. The walls had beautiful paintings showing the history of the Zillari people. At the center of the room stood the Queen. Her eyes met Jack's, full of hope and sadness. She was calm and proud. "Jack," she said softly, "thank you for coming. My daughter was taken many years ago. We have searched the stars, but she remains lost." Jack bowed his head. "I promise to do everything I can to find her, Your Majesty." The Queen smiled faintly. "Your courage gives us hope." After the meeting, Jack was given maps and information about the last known places where the Drakari had been seen. The Drakari were dangerous and fierce. They ruled their territory with fear and violence. Many planets had suffered under their control. Jack and his team planned their next steps carefully. They knew the mission would not be easy. The Drakari had powerful weapons and many soldiers. But Jack believed that with courage and teamwork, they could succeed. During his first days on Zillaris, Jack trained with the Zillari soldiers. He learned their ways and shared human skills. The Zillari admired how Jack stayed calm even in difficult moments. Jack also learned about their culture, their music, and their stories. Jack noticed something special about the Zillari. Even though they were different, they shared many feelings with humans: hope, love, fear, and strength. This made Jack feel closer to them. One evening, after a long day of training, Jack walked through the city. The lights of Zillaris sparkled like stars on the ground. People smiled and greeted him. Some children ran up to touch his spacesuit, curious and excited. Jack stopped at a small park and looked at the sky. The stars above were the same stars he had seen from Earth. He thought about the princess, lost somewhere in the galaxy. He hoped she was safe. Suddenly, Jack heard a soft sound nearby. It was a Zillari woman, older and wise, sitting on a bench. She smiled gently at Jack. "You carry a heavy task," she said in a quiet voice. "But remember, sometimes the greatest strength comes from kindness." Jack nodded. "I will remember that. Thank you." The woman looked at him with understanding eyes. "The Queen's daughter is strong. She has survived because she never lost hope." Jack felt a new strength grow inside him. He was not just a soldier now. He was a guardian of hope. As days passed, Jack and the humans prepared to leave Zillaris. Their journey would take them deep into enemy space. The Drakari would not welcome visitors. Danger waited in every shadow. But Jack was ready. He thought of the Queen waiting for her daughter. He thought of the Zillari people who believed in him. He thought of the promise he made. Jack knew he was not alone. He had the courage of humanity behind him and the hope of an entire planet. This mission was bigger than any one person. And so, with a brave heart, Jack stepped onto the ship once again. The stars called to him, and he answered. The search for the lost princess had truly begun. Would you like me to continue with part 3 next? Jack's ship left Zilurus behind. The stars stretched out like a silver river in the dark space. Ahead lay the territory of the Drakari, the enemy who had taken the princess many years before. Jack felt the weight of the mission on his shoulders. He knew this part of the journey would be the most dangerous. The Drakari controlled many planets and star systems. Their ships were fast and heavily armed. Many who tried to challenge them never returned. But Jack did not think about fear. He thought about hope, the hope of a mother waiting for her lost daughter, and the hope of a young princess trapped far from home. Inside the ship, Jack gathered his team. They were a small group but brave and skilled. They trusted Jack because he was calm and always thought clearly, even when things were hard. Jack shared the plan again. They would move quietly and use all their skills to avoid Drakari patrols. If they were careful, they could find the princess without a big fight. The team worked day and night, checking their equipment and learning the star maps. Jack spent many hours studying the reports from other planets. Some had seen signs of the Drakari's movements. Others had heard rumors about a captive princess hidden in a secret place. It was not much, but it was a start. On the 6th day, the ship approached a small, dark planet near the edge of Drakari space. The planet's surface was rough and covered with rocky mountains. No city lights shone from the ground. It was a quiet and lonely place. But Jack knew it might hold answers. They landed carefully in a hidden valley. The air was thin but breathable. Jack looked around. No signs of life, only shadows and silence. The team moved out in small groups, exploring the area. Jack felt his heart beat faster. Every step could bring them closer to the princess or into danger. Suddenly, the scanners on the ship picked up movement nearby. Jack signaled his team to hide. They waited quietly. A group of Drakari soldiers appeared, patrolling the valley. They were tall and fierce, wearing dark armor that seemed to absorb the light. Jack watched carefully. The Drakari spoke in a harsh language. Jack could not understand the words, but he knew they were searching for something or someone. The soldiers moved slowly, looking alert. After the patrol left, Jack and his team followed the path they had taken. They found signs of a camp, footprints, broken branches, and pieces of strange metal. It was clear the Drakari used this place often. Jack's hope grew. If the Drakari had a camp here, maybe the princess was close. Jack decided to explore deeper into the mountains. The terrain was difficult. Sharp rocks and narrow paths made the journey slow. But Jack and his team were determined. They moved carefully, avoiding places that looked dangerous. On the 3rd day in the mountains, Jack found a small cave hidden behind a waterfall. The cave's entrance was narrow and dark. Jack felt a chill as he looked inside. This could be a hiding place or a prison. He called his team together. "We need to be ready," he said quietly. "If the princess is here, we must help her. But the Drakari might be nearby." The team nodded. They checked their weapons and prepared to enter the cave. Jack led the way, shining his light into the darkness. The cave was cold and wet. Strange sounds echoed from deep inside. As they moved further, Jack noticed marks on the walls. They looked like drawings, but simple. One showed a woman holding a child. Jack thought it might be a message or a sign left by someone hoping for rescue. Suddenly, they heard a soft noise, a cry, almost like a whisper. Jack stopped and listened. The sound came again. It was faint, but it was there. "Someone is here," Jack whispered. The team moved closer to the noise. Around the next bend, they saw a figure, a young woman, thin and tired, but with strong eyes that shone with hope. It was the princess. Jack's heart raced. He could not believe they had found her. The princess looked at Jack and the team with surprise but also relief. She spoke softly in the Zillari language, but Jack's translator helped him understand. "I thought no one would come," she said. Jack smiled gently. "We are here to take you home." The princess nodded slowly. Her eyes filled with tears. She was free at last. Jack felt a new strength fill him. The mission was not over yet. They had to get out safely. But the hardest part was done. The lost princess was found. Would you like me to continue with part 4 next? The cave was silent except for the soft footsteps of Jack's team as they moved closer to the princess. She looked tired but strong. Her eyes held a mixture of fear and hope. After so many years of being alone, someone had finally found her. Jack stepped forward gently. "You are safe now," he said in a calm voice. The princess nodded slowly, but she did not speak much. The journey to the cave had been long and hard for her. She needed time to trust them. The team made a small camp inside the cave. Jack offered her food and water. The princess accepted quietly, her hands trembling slightly. Jack noticed small scars on her arms, signs of the hardships she had faced. But despite everything, her spirit remained bright. That night, Jack sat beside her and asked softly, "Can you tell me what happened?" The princess looked out into the dark cave as if seeing memories in the shadows. Then she began to speak, her voice low but clear. "I was taken by the Drakari when I was very young. They kept me in a prison ship far from Zillaris. The days were long and lonely. The Drakari did not treat me like a princess. They wanted to use me to control my people." Jack listened carefully. He could imagine how hard it must have been for her. "How did you survive?" She smiled faintly. "I never lost hope. I remembered my mother's stories. She told me that hope was the strongest light in the darkness. I promised myself I would find a way back." The princess's words touched Jack deeply. He admired her courage and strength. "You are very brave," he said. She looked at him with quiet gratitude. "You are brave too, Jack. You came all this way to find me. I never imagined humans would care so much." Jack felt a warm feeling in his chest. He knew this mission was more than just duty. It was about kindness and connection between worlds. The next morning, the team prepared to leave the cave. Jack knew the Drakari could return at any time. They needed to move quickly and carefully. As they traveled down the mountain path, the princess told Jack about the prison ship where she had lived. It was a cold and dark place, with metal walls and no windows. The Drakari guards were cruel and kept her locked in a small room. But she learned to be strong inside her mind. She dreamed of the day she would be free. Jack asked, "Did anyone else try to help you?" She shook her head. "No one came. I was alone for many years." Jack's heart ached. He thought of all the others who might be suffering in silence. This made his mission even more important. The group moved through the rocky valleys with care. The Drakari were still hunting for them. At one point, they heard the distant sound of engines. Jack ordered the team to hide among the rocks. The Drakari patrol flew overhead but did not see them. Jack's team held their breath until the patrol left. The princess stayed close to Jack, trusting him more with each step. After many hours, they reached a safe zone near the edge of Drakari space. A hidden human outpost waited to receive them. Jack contacted the outpost and explained the situation. The outpost commander welcomed them warmly. "We've been waiting for this day," he said. "The princess is safe now." Jack helped the princess to the medical bay. She needed rest and care after so long in captivity. The doctors were gentle and kind, treating her wounds and helping her regain strength. While the princess rested, Jack reviewed the next steps with his team. They would need to travel quickly back to Zillaris. The Drakari would not give up easily. During this time, the princess began to open up more. She shared stories of her childhood before the capture. She talked about her mother, the queen, and the love that still connected them. Jack saw how much the princess longed to be home again. He promised her silently that they would get there safely. One evening, as Jack walked through the outpost garden, he thought about the journey ahead. The princess was no longer just a mission. She was a symbol of hope for many worlds. Jack felt proud to be part of this story. He knew the path back would be hard, but with courage and friendship, they could overcome anything. The stars outside shone brightly. Jack looked up and whispered, "We will bring you home. Would you like me to continue with part 5 next?" The night was quiet, but inside the human outpost, tension filled the air. Jack and his team prepared for the most dangerous part of their mission, getting the princess safely out of Drakari space. They knew the enemy would try everything to stop them. The Drakari would not give up their captive easily. Jack gathered his team in the briefing room. The maps showed their path back to Zillaris, but the route was full of risks. Enemy patrols, hidden traps, and harsh space weather could all slow them down. Jack looked at each member of his team. They were ready. Their eyes showed trust in Jack's leadership. "We must move fast and stay quiet," Jack said. "The princess's safety depends on us. Remember, we are not just fighting for her. We are fighting for hope." The team nodded. They packed their equipment carefully and checked their weapons. Every small detail mattered. As the ship lifted off from the outpost, Jack looked at the princess. She sat quietly, holding a small locket her mother had given her before she was taken away. Her eyes shone with a mixture of fear and relief. Jack knew she was brave, but this journey would test her strength even more. The ship entered Drakari space. The dark stars seemed colder here, and the silence was heavy. Jack's heart beat fast, but he kept calm. He trusted his team and their skills. Suddenly, the ship's alarms blared. "Enemy ships approaching," the pilot shouted. Jack's team jumped into action. The ship's weapons powered up as enemy fighters appeared from the shadows of space. The Drakari ships were fast and aggressive. They surrounded the humans, trying to block their path. Jack took command. "Evasive maneuvers. Keep the princess safe." The ship twisted and turned through the stars, dodging enemy fire. Jack's hands were steady on the controls, his mind focused. He knew the lives of many depended on his skill. The battle was fierce. Lasers flashed, engines roared, and alarms screamed. Jack's team worked together, firing at the enemy and repairing damage. The princess stayed calm, trusting Jack and the others. After what felt like hours, the Drakari began to pull back. Jack saw an opening and pushed the ship faster. The stars blurred as they sped away from danger. Once safe, Jack breathed deeply. The princess looked at him and smiled. "Thank you," she said softly. "You saved me." Jack smiled back. "We will get you home." But the journey was not over. The Drakari still chased them, and the path to Zilurus was long. Jack planned a route through an asteroid field. The rocks were dangerous, but the narrow spaces could hide them from enemy sensors. The ship moved carefully between the asteroids. Jack's hands guided the controls with skill and patience. The team worked together to keep the ship steady. The princess watched in awe. "I have never seen such courage," she said. "You and your people are truly special." Jack felt proud. "We fight for what is right. For family and hope." As they moved through the asteroid field, the Drakari fighters appeared again. But the narrow spaces made it hard for the enemy ships to follow. The humans used this advantage to escape. After several hours, the ship left the dangerous field and entered a peaceful area of space. The stars shone warmly, and the silence was calm. Jack looked at the princess. "We are close now. Zilurus is near." The princess's eyes filled with tears of joy. "I will see my mother soon." Jack smiled. "Yes. And she is waiting for you." The ship sped towards Zilurus. The hope of a family reunion filled the air. Jack felt a deep happiness. The mission was nearly complete. The princess was safe, and her home was close. But Jack knew he must stay alert. The Drakari might still try one last attack. He would protect the princess with all his strength. As the planet grew larger in the window, Jack whispered, "We are coming home. Would you like me to write part 6 next?" The spaceship moved closer to Zilurus. The planet's blue and green colors filled the windows, glowing warmly in the light of its sun. Jack watched silently. After all the dangers and long travels, home was near for the princess. He could see the hope shining in her eyes. She was ready to return to her mother, the queen. The ship began its descent toward the capital city. Outside, the vast palaces and tall towers of Zilurus sparkled under the sunlight. The people below looked up as the ship came down. There was excitement and joy. Word had spread that the lost princess was returning. Inside the ship, Jack helped the princess prepare to leave. She wore simple clothes now, but her posture was proud and strong. The long years of hardship had made her mature beyond her years. Yet, there was still softness in her smile, a sign of the love she carried for her people and family. As they stepped out onto the landing platform, the crowd grew silent. The queen was there, waiting with open arms. Her face was a mix of tears and smiles. The years of pain and waiting were about to end. The princess ran forward and fell into her mother's embrace. Tears flowed freely from both women. The crowd cheered, feeling the power of this reunion. It was a moment of hope and healing for all the Ziluri people. Jack watched quietly, feeling proud to have been part of this moment. The queen turned to him and spoke with gratitude. "Thank you, Jack. You brought my daughter home." Jack nodded, feeling the warmth of her words. "It was an honor, Your Majesty." In the days that followed, the princess slowly reconnected with her people. She shared stories of her captivity and the courage it took to survive. Her strength inspired many. She spoke about peace and the future, bringing new hope to Zilurus. Jack spent time learning about the Ziluri culture and their dreams for peace. He grew close to the princess and the queen. They were not just allies but friends united by a common goal. One afternoon, the queen invited Jack to a special ceremony. The people gathered to celebrate the princess's return and the alliance between humans and Ziluri. It was a beautiful event filled with music, light, and joy. The Queen spoke to the crowd. Today we celebrate not only a reunion but the strength of hope and friendship. Thanks to brave hearts like Jack's, we have a future full of promise. Jack felt the weight of the moment. He understood that this was more than a mission, it was a new beginning. The alliance between their worlds was a symbol of peace and trust. As the celebration continued, Jack looked at the stars above. He thought of the journey they had taken and the challenges they had overcome. He knew there would be more battles ahead, but for now, there was peace. The princess approached Jack with a smile. "Thank you for never giving up on me," she said softly. Jack smiled back. "You taught me what hope really means." The Queen joined them and placed a hand on Jack's shoulder. "You will always have a home here, Jack." Jack felt a deep sense of belonging. In this moment, different worlds had come together. They were stronger because of it. As night fell over Zilurus, Jack stood outside the palace, looking at the stars. He felt hope shining in his heart. The lost princess was home, and a new chapter had begun. The future was bright. Would you like me to write the final part, Part 7? The days after the princess's return were filled with hope and change. Zilurus was alive with celebrations and plans for the future. The people were happy to see their princess safe. But Jack knew this was only the start of something greater. The Drakari threat had not disappeared. They were powerful and angry that their prisoner had escaped. The Queen and her advisors worked closely with Jack and the humans to build a strong defense. They shared knowledge and technology to protect the planet and keep the peace. Jack spent many hours training with the Ziluri soldiers and helping to prepare for any future attacks. He admired their bravery and discipline. Together, they formed a team that could face any challenge. The princess, now called Princess Lyra, took on new responsibilities. She met with her people, learning about their hopes and struggles. She worked with the Queen to rebuild trust and heal the wounds of the past. Lyra's courage and kindness inspired everyone around her. One morning, Jack and Lyra walked through the palace gardens. The sun was warm, and the flowers were in full bloom. Lyra spoke quietly, "I never imagined I would live to see this day. To be free, to be home." Jack smiled gently. "Your strength brought you here. You survived when others would have given up." Lyra looked at him with gratitude. "You saved my life. You gave me hope." Jack shook his head. "No. You saved yourself. I was just here to help." They walked in silence for a moment, the sounds of birds and the soft breeze around them. It felt like a new beginning not only for Zilurus but for their friendship. Meanwhile, the Queen organized a council to discuss peace across the galaxy. She invited leaders from many planets, including humans. They spoke of cooperation, trade, and protection against threats like the Drakari. Jack was proud to represent Earth. He shared stories of human courage and hope. The leaders listened and agreed to work together for a safer future. The council ended with a promise: no matter the differences in worlds, peace was worth fighting for. Jack believed this promise was the greatest victory of all. One evening, as stars twinkled above the palace, Jack stood with the Queen and Lyra. They looked at the sky, dreaming of a bright future. The Queen said softly, "Your journey has changed many lives, Jack. You showed us that kindness and bravery can bring light to the darkest places." Jack felt deep joy. "It was an honor to help your family and your people." Lyra smiled warmly. "Thank you for bringing me home. I will never forget you." Jack nodded. "And I will never forget you. This is only the beginning." The stars above seemed to shine even brighter, as if celebrating the new friendship between worlds. Jack knew that the road ahead would have challenges. But now, with friends like Lyra and the Queen, he was ready for whatever came next. As the night grew quiet, Jack thought about home, both Earth and Zilurus. He felt connected to both places. He understood that hope, courage, and friendship were the true stars that guided him. The lost princess was safe. The people of Zilurus were united. And a new chapter of peace and adventure had begun for all. Jack smiled, ready for the future. Would you like me to help with anything else? Maybe a summary or character descriptions?